living color.
Okay, we're back at Project Hills. As you can see, we've been making progress. Why are these sacks sitting here? Well, we're in a community. We're not allowed to bring a skip in and put it on the driveway there. Actually, we're not even allowed to put our cars or vehicles down there, so they're all outside and we have to come in and out to load and unload things. So we'll be bringing a truck in here with a crane that will pick these bags up, load it and go. So they're just some things, again, to take into account when you're working in a community as to the rules and regulations of what you can and can't do and ways around it. Usually there's a way around it, and this is what we've done. So I'm really excited now because I can see that obviously walls have come down in there. So let's go and see what the space is looking like now. Wow, well that's made a difference. We can now see our kitchen. We are actually going to be blocking this up, but this is the new entrance size, which is mimicking that one. And if I come in here now, I'm now stood in the middle of my kitchen. It's great. I love it at this phase. So we've removed everything. I'm just going to have a quick meeting here with the builder because we've got to discuss electrics, etc. And this column here, which we can't remove, which we knew about, we can't remove that. So before we started, we actually opened up the ceiling a little bit to see what this was doing here. It's got to stay, but we're going to remove these bits of concrete on here and just reduce it slightly, and it will actually disappear into this bank over here, which in the kitchen is going to be floor to ceiling cabinets right the way across. And we've got our fridge freezers going into this gap, we've got our ovens, and then we have like a little opening breakfast area with pull down shutter door on the front of that. But when this is all finished, that's obviously, as I mentioned, going to be closed. This will just be one complete seamless front, so we won't even know that there's a column in there. And then we're having an island in the centre, and then behind you we are keeping the sink and the dishwasher on that side, and we've got a hob in the corner with our extraction. So this wall here on the back is actually going to be clear. We'll be getting rid of all of these wires, etc. It'll just be a nice clear wall, so we can put a fabulous piece of artwork on there, which you'll be able to see from the dining room. So great, I'm really happy with the progress in here, and let's go and have a look upstairs. Oh, actually next door, so this, just in case you didn't realise, because sometimes it's not always clear, this was the downstairs bathroom before, so that's all gone. Next door here, we are going to be, let's see, it's a little bit dark in here, but we've just taken everything out of here, and we're going to be bringing the plumbing through the wall. And we were, oh, there's a bit of noise going on up there. Let's go and see what all the shouting's about. And we're going to be having a sink and a toilet in here, and closing that end of the room with the washing machines hidden. So this is going to be our downstairs guest toilet. Let's go and see what's going on up there. It sounds exciting. Oh, okay. Mussels. Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy bien.
Si no pasamos en la puerta, la hacemos en el suelo.
Yeah, ánimo. Those things are heavier than they look. Okay. Not a lot of light in here at the moment, which is why we're going to be opening up this wall and putting some double doors in there from the bedroom, and I'm going to make those doors glass paned, but there's a rib defect in the glass because we're going a little bit kind of Art Deco style in this bathroom. So Don't know if you remember before, we had a wardrobe taking up a section of this bathroom before, and obviously the door is right where you're looking through now. So that's going to be all blocked up, and my bathroom area here. Again, I've got another column that I can't get rid of. So what I'm going to do is actually mimic it on this side to make this space more symmetrical. And this back wall where we've removed the heavy bath that you just saw going down the stairs, and the shower, they're still hard at it at the moment. That back wall there is just going to be one big shower space, so that's going to be lovely, and you'll be able to stand in the shower, and if you do leave your doors open to the bedroom, you'll be able to see right through and through the bedroom doors out to that lovely sea view. So my carpenter's here as well, because we're measuring up for these new doors that I just told you about, and we're going to actually open the doors out rather than in, and because this is where the bed sits and my bedroom bedside tables are going to be there, we're just making sure that when we open those doors it doesn't interfere with furniture. So that's an important part. And also inside the bathroom I'm going to have my carpenter make a nice built-in unit on the side between that column and the wall, which is going to have also glass doors on the lower section to mimic the big entrance doors, some shelves above with lighting, because my basin in this bathroom is going to be in the centre, no storage. I don't like that idea, so we're going to put some storage in there on the side of the wall, and we're going to design that with my carpenter and have that made bespoke to fit, and it's going to look beautiful. We're just talking about the beams up there. They're actually decorative, but as we're opening that wall to put the doors in, we do need to support those beams. So we're going to make our pre-frame thicker and stronger to support those decorative beams. It's not holding up the roof or a floor or anything else, it's just literally the weight of the beams. So that's what we're just discussing at the moment.
No sé qué decirte, se hace 40 para llegar hasta aquí y la puerta hace tope aquí.
Vale, voy a explicar. We're just talking about this wall because there's a lot of damp and humidity on this wall. It's probably coming from outside because we've got a staircase there, rainwater falling down straight through the wall. Unfortunately, some things are not built totally 100% correctly, or they don't stand the test of time. But anyway, to solve that, what we're talking about doing is putting in an insulated interior wall. We'd prefer to do it on the outside, but at the moment it's not a possibility. So we're going to do it on the inside. What does that mean? It's going to obviously bring everything further forwards into the room. It's going to bring the kitchen units further forward, and it means that the windows won't open all the way back. That's not a big problem, because actually over here it's better that they don't open fully. They're not going to then bash on the wall and create any damage there. And on the other side we've actually got the hob above the hob here and the extractor above the hob, so we don't actually, that window won't open all the way back anyway as well for that reason. So that's what we're just talking about right now, and obviously we'll pass that by the client first to make sure that they're happy for us to do that extra work that wasn't initially quoted, because it's only when you get to this stage that everything's ripped out that you discover these small little issues. So when you're budgeting for your renovation work, because it's a new build, there's always little bits and pieces that crop up. So expect an increase in your budget and keep some money aside for that. If you go right to the limit of your budget and then anything like this happens, or other small things can crop up, then you're tight to your budget, and it just basically takes away the fun and the joy of doing the renovation. So my advice to you is don't go right to your budget, keep some back, because there will be something that might crop up, and when it does, no problem, you've got the money there to pay for it, and the job's going to be well done and done properly. Bueno. So a little update on Project Dragonera. Unfortunately, we have hit upon a snag, and this is no fault of anybody actually. My clients bought the property in 2024, and we met this year, 2025. So the first thing I always ask my clients actually when we're talking about doing any work that's going to involve permissions is everything fully registered and legal in your property? And their answer of course was yes. So we progressed. We discussed what we'd like to do to the property, we made costings, we took the trades, we had a look, etc., and we decided that we were in line with our budgets, and we decided to go ahead and sign agreements. So recently I wanted to apply for the permissions to start the work shortly, and discovered that actually part of this house or this property is not fully legal and registered. What does that mean? Well, it means that we can't get permission at the moment to do the work that we want to do. So we're on hold at the moment. Now, when you buy a property, if you have bank funding, usually they would do a search and find these anomalies. In this circumstance, it wasn't found, and in fact the town hall actually gave a certificate saying that there were no encumbrances and no illegalities on this property. It was something that later came out, but the property that the problem that they have is one at the lower floor actually needs to be fully registered and legalized, because it wasn't part of the original plans when the original building plans were put in place, and this was actually applied for in 2023. So when the town hall issued the certificate saying that there were no problems with this property, they actually made an error. And when the property was bought, purchased, sold, this was never mentioned to my clients who bought the property. Hence, they didn't mention it to me because they were unaware. And I've actually found this through looking at paperwork ready to apply for my permissions to do the work. So, because it's already been applied for to do the legalisation of the part of the property that's necessary from 2023, we could be close or round the corner to getting the necessary paperwork, which would then allow us to apply for our permissions to work. So we're not totally disheartened, we're disappointed, and we have an appointment in December with the urban architect for the area of Andrach, and when we've had a chat with him, we will know then whether we're going to have to just delay starting or postpone it to next year. But right now we're on a standstill, so we have basically just been turning our attention to our other projects, and Project Dragonera is at a halt. It's disappointing, but these things happen. So that's the latest. Are you ready? Before I take you to the projects, obviously there's a little bit that happens prior to that, and that's namely, following an inquiry, I send you a questionnaire of some great questions that I've put together over the years, some strange ones and some normal ones for you. Once I get the response to that, we'll have a phone conversation or a Zoom call or even a face-to-face meeting where we can go through that questionnaire and just ascertain that we think that we're going to be the right fit. Following that, I do make a charge for a consultation visit, and that's what you're going to be seeing me doing with my trades. So I take all my trades to your property, either when you're there or when you're not there. Usually better when you're not there. We can spend longer, we'll traipse all over your house, have a look at everything that we can, take photographs and take measurements, and with that information we can then put together a really detailed quote for you so that you can then sit down, make sure that that fits in with your budget before we take the next step and start working together. So I just wanted to give you that information before I take you along to the property, so now you can come and have a look what we're doing there. Just 1 second, sorry, just dealing with a carpenter on the way. Always prefer to get things done on the spot, otherwise you forget things. It's an age problem. We'll be with you in 1 second. Okay, done, let's go. So we've got a break in the rain. The sun is not always shining in Mallorca. Hopefully we won't get soaked. We're on our way to Project Hills, just having a little site checkup and a visit with the builder. We are going to be looking at, there's a couple of little issues today that I want to discuss with him, some on the construction, and also the electrician is going to be there so we can just check that the wiring is all being put in the right places. And we'll also just have a little check on the progress and the clearing up. I believe the rubble sacks were taken away this week. In fact, I know the rubble sacks were taken away, but we may have refilled them again. That's another little story I'll tell you about. So regarding the rubble sacks, I had a phone call from the president of the community, who, by the way, if you've ever lived in a community, these people that are put in charge really are normally jobs worse. The bane of my life, I have to tell you. But anyway, I'm sure there's some marvellous ones out there. But I had a phone call to tell me that apart from the fact that they don't like trucks and vans, etc., and trades going in and out and leave parking, which we religiously haven't done, they didn't like the fact that the truck was in there picking up the rubble bags because we weren't allowed to skip. So the next time we go to pick up the rubble bags, we have to send a smaller truck. The truck fits through the gate and it's not overweight, and we weren't going over anything that it was going to break. But anyway, just to keep the peace, smaller truck. Ah, muy bien, sí, fantástico. Vale, muy bien, muchas gracias. Bueno, hasta luego. Brilliant, that's great news. So everything has arrived for Project Golf. That's everything except the mirror. We can live without the mirror right now, but we've got our tiles, we've got our taps, we've got our bathtub, shower bays, sinks, everything we need. And I've been told this morning as well, earlier, that the kitchen is now on the island too. So that's great. I prefer to have everything here in advance and stored so that I don't delay my trades at all, because as I've mentioned before, we're usually on quite tight time frames. So that's all good news. That's two good pieces of news today. Let's see if there's a third on its way. Let's go and have a look at the situation here in Project Hills. So always a good sign, materials on site. Lots of noise. They don't know I'm here yet, so it's always good to know they're busy. Not just all sitting around having a tea break. But yeah, so to see materials on site means that we're not just doing the demolition, but we're actually starting a little bit of the rebuild work now. So let's go and see what they're up to. So we're just having a little chat here because there's a column here, reinforced column in the wall that during the original build somebody decided to cut through to put the plumbing tubes. Not good building practice, and we were going to be putting some electrics there as well according to our plan here. So we're now just talking about alternatives, because obviously what we're not going to do is add insult to injury. We're going to repair that, sort it out, and position our electrics in a new position. So that's what we're chatting about. That's what all the discussions are at the moment, yeah, needs to be done. Just finished with the electrician in the kitchen. As I explained earlier, we've got a little problem over there with putting the sockets there, so we've now moved them and we're going to have 2 extra sockets on this wall here. We've got an island in the centre with sockets, so we will be able to plug in small appliances to use here anyway on the workspace. And then on this side where we've got fridge, freezer going in the corner there, ovens, plate warmer, microwave, and in this spot here we've got a little cupboard which the top's going to open, so that we can, inside there we can put our toaster and our kettle like a sort of breakfast making area, close it and hide all of that away when we don't need it. So we were just chatting about that, and as you can see out here we've already started. So we've blocked this up now, so we now have our new opening to the kitchen, and this is blocked up, and we originally had a wall light here which we're now going to relocate to the centre of this wall. And we're also going to be moving this socket, which is a bit too close to the opening. We're going to move that along to that corner as well. So that's the electrics clear in here, and we can go and see what else is happening. Vale. So we just removed this grill that was in the ceiling because actually well, you can see these shelves here are all blistered because there's water comes in here when it rains. So we need to find out where that's coming from. We're actually going to remove the whole ceiling in here anyway, but just to have a first little look, we can see daylight coming through there, but we're not sure yet if that's from outside or just coming in from one of the other rooms. So this is what we're doing up a ladder with our heads in the ceiling. So we're upstairs now to have a look at the bathroom. I need to talk to you about the column up here. Oh, it's gone. Okay, so we had a column here before, and it was we were going to replicate it on the other wall. If you remember, I spoke to you before, the client liked symmetry, so as we had one here, we were going to put one over there. But actually, this column was the chimney from the fireplace down below, which never gets used. In fact, it's decorative. Candles go in there. And if they'd have ever lit a fire in there, they'd have had a big bathroom full of smoke, because when we removed the floor, this chimney actually was not connected. So it was open between underneath the floor and above the floor, so it would have just let smoke out into the room. And on the top here, you won't be able to see with the camera, but it goes up, and then there's a funny dog leg, and then another one, and then it goes left again, and then up again. So it's very doubtful that they'd have had any success with having a fire. So speaking to the client, we've decided to get rid, and as you can see, it's already been got rid of. So we're just measuring, this is the frame for the new door, nice and solid, because we do have beams above. They're only decorative, as I've said to you before. So we're just figuring out in here where to place the door. Ideally, I would like it centered, but we do have a toilet going inside to the corner to one side. So we're just having a little discussion about that. What's important for me is sometimes not important for the plumber, but we have to come to an agreement. So we'll get on with that now.
Vale, Justine.
Bien, everybody happy?
Yes!
Good. We came to a compromise. We're going to centre the door from the outside here, because aesthetically that's what bothers me. And inside, as the wall for the bathroom actually is a little 10 centimetres further in here, it won't quite be centred inside, but that gives us a little bit more space for the toilet, because although I think there's enough space, I am quite narrow, and some of the guys here are saying they need more space to go to the toilet. So that was the discussion here, but we've come to a compromise. Everybody's happy now. Thanks for following along, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell button, leave me a comment, and we'll see you again next week.
Living life in color.